What is up, everybody? It is Tom. Welcome back to the lab. Today we're getting back to work on my new song, All I Wanted. And guess what? It's time to mix. So yesterday we finished up all the production, vocals, all the arrangement, adding in additional pieces. Everything is edited, cleaned up, in time, and now it's ready to be mixed. So today we're going to dive into Logic again, and I'm going to start picking through the mixing process and getting everything sounding good. My goal is to have this song mixed and mastered by the end of the day today. I'm getting a little bit of a late start. I had a busy morning with client work, but today we're going to get after it and just see how far we can get. So let's dive in and we'll get to it. So when I'm mixing, the first place I like to start is with drums. I have exported my tracked drums and pulled them into a new group. So here are the old tracked drums right here. And then I am collapsing and hiding that group, and then the new tracked drums are here. And the reason I do that is because that prints into the files all of the pre-existing plugins that are my board mix plugins, and then it also prints into the file the timing, so my computer isn't running flex time anymore for those drum tracks. It's not having to compute that timing data. Everything is just pulled in as a regular audio file at this point. So I'm saving myself some processing power. And then from there, as you can see, the entire drum kit here is bused to bus 15. Now bus 15 is a drum submix, which is this. And then I have a preset drum bus right here that I will leave on. That takes care of that. Then I'm going to populate this stuff, and I'm going to use some keyboard shortcuts. So now all of my presets are populated for the drum kit. And this is all getting to 0. And then the next thing I do to get completely to 0 is I go through and I knock out all the toms, or all of the tom tracks where the toms are not. So if I solo out these tom tracks, you can hear, like in here, none of that needs to be in the track. But then you come here, well, no, that's not a tom. Here we go. And we need those tom strikes, but we don't need that, all of that leading up to it. None of that needs to be in there. So we're just going to pull that out and go back and double check. There are no tom strikes in the song before then. Nope, so that's gone, all of that. And then I'll clean up the edits later. So here we got a floor tom. So I'll pull that out, get rid of that. Da, da, da. And then on she goes until we've got everything pulled out that isn't a tom strike. And yeah, so I'm just going to keep doing that, and then I'll get drums all ready, and then we'll print some samples and move on from there. Right, so drums are cleaned up, toms are knocked out. I put a nice little fade on everything, as you can see here. Nice and clean. So now we have this really beautiful drum track that only includes the tom stuff when we need it. Nice and clean, man. Come on now. All right, so next we go to drum samples. Now here's the deal with this. There are a couple ways you can do this, and there are two schools of thought. School one is don't use samples at all. And I agree with that in certain contexts. This is not one of those contexts. This is a time when I want to use samples because I think they're going to be really helpful. As far as two different ways to do this, one way I've covered on my vlog before, but I'm going to show it to you again. And that is a shortcut here in Logic that allows you to print a MIDI track of your drum track without using any external plugins. And the second way is using Trigger, specifically Trigger 2 by Stephen Slate. I have that plugin as well, and I'm likely going to use that for snare drum, so I'll show you that one too. Hopping in to the screen here again, we're just going to go to the kick in here, and I have it set as Control D, and what that does is it duplicates the track to become a MIDI track alongside the audio track. So when I hit preview, you can hear that it is doubled, which is really neat. So then go through here and just kind of check to make sure that we're not missing anything. And the cool thing is you can adjust your threshold to make sure you're getting in all of the things. So you definitely don't want that snare drum in there. See this blue guy? Don't want that. So we'll go back down to about like it was at 20 minus 20 dB. Oh, come on. So it looks like it's all good, all in there. So the thing I want to check for the most is, are any snares coming through in the kick channel, and are all the fills clean, specifically the floor tom. The floor tom has a knack for coming through the kick channel in my setup, I think just because of the way the frequencies work in my room, and also for the nature that the floor tom is a low-end drum. See how this floor tom came through? We don't want that. She gone. Alright, so now that that's done, I'm going to select them all, go to my little window here, and I'm going to go to fixed velocity, operate only, we're going to take them all to 100, and now we pick out the kick drum that we want. So I'm going to go to kit pieces, kicks, so I'm going to stick with that for now. I'll probably end up changing it, but that's okay. So that's one way to do it. Now, the second way. Gonna hide this, gonna hide that, gonna go here, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna drop this in here. Stephen Slate, Trigger 2. And now, so I'm gonna solo out this snare channel. As you can see, it's triggering, but there's nothing in here. So I'm going to go to browser and I'm going to select snares. We'll just go black snare, and what I'm going to do is drag this to here, and then we'll get to preview what we like. So that's a big room. I don't think I want that. Okay, see how that sounds in context. Actually, don't hate it. And then we'll try this chili snare, see what that's like. Okay. So that's a big room, right? So the two together. now that we're in here, what we can do is we can adjust the parameters of this. How sensitive do we want it to be? How much detail do we want? Actually, everything is great, so there's no reason to adjust any of it because it's triggering as it should. So now we'll print that down to another track and we'll move on. Drums are sampled, drum samples are printed. Check it out. Now we have this nice, beautiful drum take. So for some context, here's what it sounds like without our samples in there. Right? And then here we have just our samples. And now, full kit. So you can hear how the kick sample has added a little bit of present mid-range for the kick drum to kind of cut through. And then the snare sample has added this big room sound so that in context, it will sound like the drum kit is in a much bigger space than it was recorded. And that's how you get that kind of big, like, arena feel. My plan was to get through the entire mixing process on the vlog here today, but I'm already running, I don't know what this is going to edit into, but definitely over 10 minutes at this point. I don't want to have a 30-minute video of the mixing process, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a track deep dive once I'm done with it, and that will probably happen either tomorrow or the day after that. So I'm going to get back into this, mixing it, but this has been hopefully an informative tutorial on how you can clean up your drums for the mixing process. Knocking out the toms is a huge thing, and then 2 different ways to print samples, 1 and 2. Hopefully that helps. Yeah, and you can see the difference that it makes once you get into it. So I'm gonna get back into this thing, I'm gonna mix this song, and I will catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.